Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, you are all well. Now, while all sane people condemn ISIS, Al Qaeda, and terrorism, etc., we cannot help but be flabbergasted by America's current stupidity and hypocrisy. Tell me, who do you think is more dangerous to America? Al Qaeda, ISIS, terrorism? Or, I don't know, let's say President Donald Trump? Rudy Giuliani? This lady? You'll be shocked to know that the answer is not ISIS or Al Qaeda. I posit, and I think any sane person will agree, that President Trump and his cronies are probably more dangerous to America as a civilization than all the fumbling, misfiring Islamic terrorists in the world put together. AQ, ISIS and co are dangerous, and yes, they have killed thousands of people. But all respectable foreign affairs analysts worth their salt agree that they're not an existential threat to America, i.e. America will almost definitely not fall to terrorism. But what Trump, Rudy Giuliani and this lady are now doing in America will probably, indeed likely, in the end cause the decline and the eventual collapse of America. Now I know, that is a big, almost shocking prediction to make. But given the last decade and recent events, I think it is a reasonable one. Believe me, I don't say this lightly. So why am I saying something that sounds so crazy? That's the thing. I don't think it's all that crazy at all. Think about this. The idea of America rests almost entirely on its sacred constitutional democracy. By saying that fraud caused his defeat and peddling the now insanely popular conspiracy theory that the deep state is somehow controlling the elections in America, Trump and co have forever sown doubt into the American election process. Now, this has never happened before. This is a game changer. So much so that 30% of left-leaning, sane Democrats and some 80% of Republicans believe the election was a fraud. Just to underline the significance of what has happened, imagine 70% of the world's Muslims doubting the Quran, a'udhu billah. How long before Islam is finished as a religion? Well, something not dissimilar has happened in America. For them, their democracy is almost of the same level of importance to them as is our Quran to us. So yeah, it's pretty big. America is not only catastrophically, and many agree, permanently divided, but more worryingly, it is deluded. It has stopped believing in what a normal, healthy, sane person would assume to be a given, namely facts, truth, and logic. In a sentence, it has stopped believing in reality. When over half of a nation's population have basically lost a grip on a previously accepted reality and prefer wild conspiracy theories and, crucially, no longer trust in their system of government, it is basically the end of the beginning. Because if the people don't trust their elected officials, they won't trust their laws, and any authority resting over them. When people don't trust their laws, a country is in a perpetual state of chaos and disorder. And that is precisely what we've witnessed this year, a precursor to the big collapse of America. Sadly for Americans, this all seems to be going in the wrong direction. Violence, conspiracies, and more violence, and then something will sooner or later give, as often it does, given a volatile situation. George Floyd, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, look it up. One more Molotov cocktail, one more person killed, and then who knows? Maybe even an all-out conflict. I think it's a real possibility. And then all bets are off. Anything can literally happen. It could be the end of the experiment called the United States of America. Adios, old fellow. Now ISIS and AQ couldn't have wished in their wildest dreams of achieving anything close to the end of the great Satan. Destroying America would have been the ultimate fantasy of ISIS. But here we have Americans themselves, indeed the very US president, sowing the seeds of America's collapse and destruction. Bin Laden, he can't wait to give Donald Trump a big hug in the afterlife. So why couldn't America see it? Why did they assume that ISIS and terrorism was a greater threat to their civilization than their own citizens? Well, to see a threat like this requires a nation to be fair and objective in how they see the world. Prejudice and bigotry among a large proportion of American society, the disease of racism, kind of like skews reality. So you see what you want to see, instead of what is actually out there. Ooh, the Muslims are out to get us. Ooh, the Muslims want to take over America. They want to establish Sharia law and put our women in burqas. Did you know the Muslims marry their sisters and eat their babies? It was all baloney, of course. Muslims make up less than 1.5% of the US population. You'd think they were at 40 to 50%, the way they go on about it. But hey, it sells papers, it gets views and clicks, and it kind of makes you a millionaire. So who cares, right? Well, Americans should have cared, because it's not exactly the best way to craft policy. And now we're seeing the chickens coming home to roost. America's prejudice against Islam and Muslims blinded them to the real threat to their democracy. This caused them to overestimate the Islamic terror threat, i.e. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, at the cost of trillions and millions of deaths, etc., and to underestimate the domestic threat from within. As of now, terror related to white nationalism is the greatest terror threat to America according to the FBI. Now, there is a lesson in all of this, for all of us, in our own lives. It's basically good old-fashioned honesty and fairness. Don't ever be so consumed by your prejudice, hate, and bigotry towards somebody. And we can obviously extend this out to races, ethnicities, and religions, so that you become blinded, unable to live in reality. Don't become so full of hate that you're no longer able to exercise fairness, honesty, and objectivity with your fellow human being. It might make you feel good for a little while, but it just might come back to bite you in your backside. The takeaway is, reality and truth do not care about your feelings and wishful thinking. It just cares about the truth. Hate is not a good thing to hold on to in your heart. Not only will you consume your enemy, but it will eventually consume you as well. Let what was America be a lesson for us all. Thank you for watching. Take care, bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, and don't forget, La ilaha illallahu Muhammad Rasulullah.